Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of Driftless Knitting. My name is Jennifer, and thank you to those of you who are coming back and have watched the previous episodes, and welcome to those of you who are just starting to watch this podcast. I am feeling much better than I was last week. Thank you for hanging in there with me. I had a lot of comments from friends that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I was worried it was going to be really all over the place and kind of fragmented, but you guys reassured me that it was okay and that I should keep going and not give up yet. So, yeah. So I've had a pretty busy week, I would say. Busy week of work at the shop. We've been having a lot of people in and out, which has been really fun. Lately, the project of choice that we're picking yarn for, this project has been in my head for a while, so that's why I'm talking about it right away, but everyone is picking yarn for the new Stephen West Knit Along, and that starts this Friday, I think, and it takes 4 skeins of fingering weight yarn of different, different colors. He says not to choose colors that are like the same value and things like that. So people are choosing some really, really fun combinations. And it's been so much fun getting to help people choose their yarn for this project. That's, I think, one of the most fun parts of my job is helping inspire people and just running around the shop and grabbing a hang off the wall and how about this one and how about this one, and then we all, customers and friends of ours that are there and employees, we're all kind of grouped around a table looking at all the options. And for those of you who were in on that this week, that was a lot of fun. We all really enjoyed it, and we all picked our yarn for it. I can't show you my combination right now because Lisa of Three Sisters Farm and Fiber, she took my skein, one of my skeins of yarn, my variegated skein that I'm basing my color combination on. She took that to see if she could dye a skein of fingering weight yarn for me because I just couldn't find the right shade of like this pinkish purple that is in that skein of yarn. I'm very picky, and so I was getting so frustrated. I had the perfect green to go with it, and the perfect gray, and these are from my stash. Obviously, I'm on a yarn diet, and the variegated yarn is from my stash too. And I just could not find the right shade of this pinkish purple in the shop. So she said to let her play around with it a little bit. And it doesn't count as adding yarn to my stash because A, I'm using it right away, and B, I have a skein of like undyed wool sock yarn that's been in my stash that I was going to fiddle around with dyeing, and I'll just give that to her kind of in return as a replacement for her inventory. So doesn't count. Carolyn, who's no, just kidding. She wouldn't. I don't think she'd judge me too much. There was a sale on sock yarn on Knit Picks, and she texted me last week and was like, "How can I stand letting this sale pass?" I think they were on sale for like $3.50 a skein, and I admitted to her that I would not judge if she broke the yarn diet and bought a skein of that. So anyway. So my weekend was good. Today is Monday, which is my day off. But yesterday, Seaver and I were at the farm, and we got some much needed time out there among the cows. I have on my show notes when I have like talk about my weekend, I just have cows. So, yeah, he milked cows in the morning with his dad just to kind of help out, and then I went out later. A little bit later in the morning and helped feed calves and clean up a little bit and wash bottles for the calves. We fed the turkeys and we fed grain to the kind of older calves that aren't drinking milk anymore, and just had some fun outside. Walked around, the cows wouldn't go out to pasture, and they're, once they get let out from being milked, they have to go out to pasture. And they were just kind of hanging around and didn't want to walk through the mud because it's been so muddy here, and rainy. And so we just sort of pushed them out, and then we walked up the hill with them and kept going up to one of the ridges on their property that kind of overlooks some of the fields and the pond, one of the ponds that they have there. And I actually took a video of just looking out on the pasture, and it's just so beautiful out there. And I was thinking I would try and do more videos when I go to the farm so that you can see kind of what we do out there, and just the experiences with the animals. Obviously, I'm not going to film us like scraping the barn aisle or something like that, but the calves and cows and just the beautiful scenery. So, but I haven't figured out yet how to splice videos together. So I might have to do a little fiddling around. And if I don't figure that out, I will have that short video. I just got one short video this time at the farm. I'll have that video on my Instagram. And my Instagram, by the way, is Driftless Knitter. And that's my Ravelry name too. So if you're looking for me on either of those websites, you can find me there. Yeah, and then yesterday we also, in the Reedsburg area, that's where Seaver is from, is Reedsburg, Wisconsin. They have this festival every fall that's called the Fermentation Festival. And along with that, they have an art tour, a farm art tour. So they have a route that goes from Reedsburg down, I forget all the towns, a couple, Loganville and a couple small towns, and up to, oh gosh, I can't remember the names of the towns. That's horrible of me. But near Baraboo and stuff, and then loops back around to Reedsburg. And they have artists that go out and do big, I don't even know what you'd call them, installations maybe, on these farms. And a lot of them are kind of interactive. Some of them make a statement. There was one about the honeybees, and they had a couple hives, empty hives scattered around, that said no one's home, and things like that, and just kind of a comment on the disappearing honeybees, which is pretty important to me. We have honeybees at the farm, and I don't think people realize how detrimental they are to, or how detrimental it would be if they weren't here anymore. They're so important to our life, to our food, to our everything, not just making honey for us, but pollinating and anyway, I won't get on a diatribe about that, but so some of them had a bit of a message, and some were just funny, some were just, beautiful. And then, of course, you're driving around the hills of that area, which is also the Driftless region, and it's just gorgeous, and the leaves are just starting to change. It was pretty green still, but you could see at the very tips of the trees. It was just orange and red and stuff, so that was really fun. And we happened across on this hill, there was a tent, and with like pipes coming down from this bucket, and there's a bunch of people kind of milling around, and this big pile of instruments in the middle. And we're like, what is this? So we get out of the car, and we're walking around, and anyone's welcome. It's along the route of the art tour. And they had a drink called Haymaker's Punch, which was like ginger and honey and maple syrup and water, and that was really good. It kind of opened up your sinuses, that ginger flavor. And we were kind of milling around, like, what is this all about? And then I would say 5 of the younger people that were like my age, mid-20s, that were talking in a couple of groups, they all of a sudden went to the middle, to the pile of instruments, and grabbed their instruments and started playing a set of music. And I guess they're a band that have been together on and off for a while from that area, and just a group of friends that get together and play music. And so they played music. We sat on the ground and listened to them for probably a good 45 minutes. And it was so cool because it was just this random, spontaneous music making in the middle of this field. And I got some really cool pictures of just the sky and the clouds behind them, the green, green, green of the, I forget what kind of a field we were in. I think it was clover or something. Green, 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 and then the sky in the background. Oh, it was so cool. And it was just neat. We were just looking around like, what did we stumble across here? So that was a lot of fun. We had a good day yesterday. I also happened across a fiber farm along this route. And it's a little, I forget what they're called. I ended up buying yarn. I broke the diet, but I had to. I don't know, she's closing for the winter. She's just got this little store on top of, in like a section of her barn on the top level. And I mean, I love supporting local. I love supporting natural. I love supporting, just this whole crazy fiber arts community. And so I bought a couple of skeins of 100% wool, and I just realized I forgot to grab it. It's over there in one of those bins. So if you'll excuse me getting up and moving around, I'm going to go grab those. Hold on. Okay. It's right at the edge because I just put them in there. But this is Shetland sheep yarn. And there's the tag. It's from Toby's Sandhill Fiber Farm. And they're in Reedsburg, Wisconsin. I'll put that a little closer there. And this is 150 yards of, she calls it sock yarn. And so I got 2 of them because I have it in my head that I want to knit a pair of really lovely, chunky socks. Because it's not, if you look at that, and hopefully the lighting is better today. I apologize about that last time. But anyway, it's kind of a really fluffy, springy yarn. And I think it's just going to be such cushy, thick socks. I'm kind of excited about it. I've never knit like this natural of socks. Usually my sock yarn is like a wool and nylon blend. I don't know, I think it'd be really cool. And I don't know if you saw before, but the sheep that it came off of is named Horatio, which I love. And I told her that, and she's like, oh yeah, I named it after a character on a TV show. And I'm like, oh, well, I like it because it's the name of Hamlet's best friend in Hamlet. And I'm like, I had to have it. I was a literature major. And she's like, oh yeah, I forgot that name was also, like, yep. Anyway, that's okay. I guess, yeah, not everyone is super into Shakespeare. A lot of people are not super into Shakespeare like I am, so I shouldn't be that surprised. Anyway, yeah, so that is some of my only yarn acquisition because I'm on a yarn diet. I cheated. That's okay. I'm knitting a lot from my stash, and I plan on knitting a lot from my stash. And this was a special occasion. I can't really get her yarn. I think she's at some festivals. I think she was down in Jefferson, and then she's up. I saw a button for Shepherd's Harvest Festival, which is up in Lake Elmo, Minnesota. And her, she has a Facebook page. You should check it out. Toby's Sandhill Fiber Farm. And she is open on, I think, the first Saturday of every month, she said, during most of the year, except for wintertime she closes. So that's why this was kind of last chance until next year's fermentation festival, because I don't know when I'm going to get out there again along that route. So yeah, so that's exciting. But anyway, so I should talk about my works in progress, and I'm going to take a quick drink of coffee here. This is a mug from my best friend, my bestest friend, Caitlin. We go really, really way back. Really far back? That's probably more grammatically correct, but oh well. And she is now living in DC because she has an amazing internship. She's so impressive. Seriously, I feel crazily inadequate when I talk to her. She's a chemist. She has her PhD in chemistry, and she's working with Congress. Holy crap. Like, I think she's working with them on environmental stuff because she's an environmental chemist. So, like, all the bad things we put into the environment, she's trying to get rid of them. Which is awesome. Because we put a lot of bad things in the environment. Another diatribe I won't go on. Okay, works in progress. Sorry, I'm having to lean way over here. Okay, so you guys have seen this one before. This is The Dockside by Alicia Plummer. And it has grown so much. So much. I saw one of my friends after filming the second one, I think, and she was talking to me about the lighting, and she's like, yeah, I didn't really know what you were talking about when you were saying it was like greenish blue, and then she saw it in person, understood what I was saying, because my lighting was not very good last time. I don't know, maybe it's not even that good right now, but anyway, it is very large. I have a few more clues to go, but I really like how it's coming out. It's kind of like a sampler knit, and I like that. She has, this section was 2. I think I was working on that the last time I filmed. And then I went down to these elongated stitches, which, this is something I had never done before. I don't know if you can see that. I had never done elongated stitches. I learned something, and I love that. I love learning new things. So those were really fun. And then some ribbing. Not sure how much of this is actually visible. Oh yeah, okay. And then down here I am in this little eyelet mesh section. And that's what I'm doing right now. And it's just going a little slower because I have a lot of stitches on there. But I like how thick this is. I've never knit a worsted weight shawl. I think I maybe mentioned that on the last episode, but I love how squishy it's going to be. It's going to be so cozy. I'm excited. So I think I am almost done with my second ball of yarn. That's about how much I have left. So actually quite a bit. I'll probably at least finish this clue, if not start the next one with that ball of yarn. And then I have one more skein of 220 yards of this yarn, so I think I'll be okay. I think I only have the rest of this clue and then 2 more and a bind off. And I know I'm using up a lot more yarn because of all the stitches, but I think I'll be okay. I'm crossing my fingers because I don't think they make that yarn anymore. Oops. Okay, so this is a new work in progress. And I just started this one on the 1st of October because it is part of a knit-along. And I mentioned, I think in my first episode about Bumblebee Acres yarn, they were the ones that did the Harry Potter yarn, my Helga Hufflepuff, and my Awaiting Your Owl. I think that's what it's called. And they are doing a knit-along this month. And it's called The North Remembers. And I think that the name of it comes from Game of Thrones. And I haven't watched Game of Thrones. I know. I feel like so many people are just over the top. Not over the top, but just like completely head over heels obsessed with this show. A lot of my friends are. And I just never took that leap into Game of Thrones. So pretty sure that's where the name comes from. But it's a big cabled cowl and the cables actually go horizontal, so it's knit in the flat. It's not knit in the round. So all those cables kind of cush together, when you put it around your neck, which I think is awesome. And I don't have any, I'm saving their other yarn that I bought from them for some other special project, so I didn't use it for this. But I decided to break out a skein of my hand spun from my stash. And there's a couple of the cables. I haven't gotten through a full repeat yet, but I have done a few cables. And you can kind of see it's all these kind of random cables that go together and kind of just meld together. I think that's what like the description said. You're not supposed to really be able to tell where one set of cables ends and the other begins. They'll all kind of go together. So this hand spun I got at the Shepherd's Harvest, Minnesota Sheep and Wool Festival a couple years ago. Maybe just last year. I can't remember. But it's called Gone Fishing. Sorry, I don't know why I'm putting it that high up. Oh, there's my cable needle. And it's blues and browns. Take that out of there. And almost like a yellowy color that's going in there with it. And this is a BFL yarn, wool yarn that I spun. And I cannot remember who dyed this. And I'm so sad because I loved spinning it. I remember I loved spinning it. And I'm loving knitting with it. It's gorgeous. And I can't remember who it's from, and it's making me really sad because I can't buy more of it then. Anyway. Oh well, I'll just have to really enjoy working with this right now. So, I haven't been able to work on it since Saturday, which was the 1st of October, so I'm not that far. I know a lot of people's projects on Instagram, there's a hashtag for it, and there's quite a few people doing it, and a couple people have like half the cowl done, it looks like. I was not able to do that, so I'll have to work on that. Maybe, hopefully this week, definitely next week. Yeah, and that brings me to finished products, which there are none. So that's an easy one to check off the list. I've just been trying to work on these things. I was getting really good progress on my shawl, and yeah, but not enough progress, I guess. So that didn't get finished. My sock, which is still a work in progress, I did a few rows on. I started the heel gusset, but I don't know, I didn't really feel like there was enough there to warrant, showing it in works in progress. I'll show it when it's finished or when I'm at the leg part. So, yeah. So this week is Spinzilla 2016. It just started today, and I was not one of the people who stayed up until midnight and waited until like 12:01 to start spinning. I did that the first year I've participated. I think this is my 3rd year, and the first year I participated, I was one of those people, and I I spun for about an hour after midnight rolled around, and I got a little bit of spinning done. But last night we had driven home from the farm, and it was a long day. We did some, obviously some physical work on the farm, and then we were driving around for the fermentation festival all day, and then we drove home, and so it was kind of a long day. And I just decided I needed a good night's sleep, so I went to sleep. And this morning, I got up, and after Seaver left for school, I sat down and spun. And I've been spinning on and off for most of the day. I did do normal productive things like went and exercised and went grocery shopping, and I'll cook dinner tonight, but in between, those are kind of like my breaks. So I'll sit for a while, I'll spin, and then when my back starts hurting or something, because I tend to slump. I don't know, I think probably everyone's like that. But I lean forward and I slump over when I'm spinning. And especially if I'm spinning for a long time, I just sort of start melting into myself. But every so often I have to remind myself, okay, sit back, breathe, loosen up, stretch a little. So when I start getting sore or tired, I go and do one of those normal things, like cooking. So I'm excited. I'm not on a team this year. Yarnology had a team last year that Lisa kind of ran, and then the year before that, Lisa had a team with her previous fiber. She had a previous fiber company before Three Sisters Farm and Fiber, so they did that. But this year, everyone was so busy, and no one was able to really take on the responsibilities of hosting a team, kind of. You have to do quite a bit, sending emails, keeping track of everyone. There's pressure to get people, to join your team if you're not in a big, I don't know, we do have some spinners in our area, but it doesn't seem to be as big of a, I don't know how to call it, a hobby. There's not as many enthusiasts as there are with knitting in our area. So as far as we know, I don't know, there might be some people hidden away in the bluffs that are just spinning enthusiasts. But so it was always a little bit of pressure to get people to join the team and to fill up a team. And I wasn't able to really take that on this year, and Lisa wasn't able to take that on. And so we didn't form a team this year. But we're all spinning rogue, which means that you're pretty much just competing against yourself and some other rogue spinners. There is it gets posted who spins the most in the rogue group. But I'm personally going for a personal best. So that's kind of fun. I'm competing against myself. And I do have one bobbin finished that I finished today. Is that going to focus in? Maybe? I don't know. And this is some BFL that I got a few years ago. It's natural colored. It's white with, I wonder if I could grab the roving quick. It's got some brown, not flecks, but pieces in it. Oh, I'm sorry. Man, I feel like I'm just all over the place. And Spinzilla is also the reason why I'm in my sweatpants, because you have to be comfortable while you're spinning. So this is the roving, and you can see it's that nice, beautiful natural cream color, but then there is this beautiful brown sort of combed through it. And when I spin it up, it gives me this beautiful heathery look. And right now in a single, I would say this is a fingering weight, but then I'll double ply it, and it'll probably it might become a light worsted or a heavy DK. I'll just throw that back there. You can see my spinning wheel and my chair and everything set up over there, waiting for me to return. This is one of my breaks, by the way. I was spinning right before this, and I thought, I'll film a podcast quick and do that. At first, I didn't think I'd have time, and I would just have to put something up there about, sorry, I'm too busy spinning to film this week, but I thought it'd be a fun thing to do in between spinning time. And I've been kind of wanting to get back to it after feeling, kind of under the weather last week and not feeling like that was the best, presentation of myself. So I'm glad to be back at it. So I had a very good mail day today, and this goes along with Spinzilla. When I was going through my stash a couple weeks ago, I went through my fiber stash as well, and suddenly realized I had two braids of dyed fiber, and the rest of my fiber was undyed roving that I had gotten from a little from Lisa and then from some other fiber shops, and I was going to dye it. And I did a little bit of dyeing. I haven't done any in quite some time, but this was about 2 weeks ago, and I realized that I was not going to have time to dye enough fiber to get me through Spinzilla. And so I had to buy some. Oh darn. And it doesn't count against my stash diet, my yarn diet, because it's fiber. It's totally different. Totally different hobby, right? Please let me have that one. Okay, so I'll show you the fiber that I did have in my stash, and then I'll show you why I had such a good mail day today. So I bought this at Shepherd's Harvest this past May, and it's in a braid, a very long braid. But you can see hopefully you can see the colors. There's orange, yellow, some teal, some brown, gold, white. It's just gorgeous. And this is from, yeah, I'll show you. Oh, look at that. Look at that bright, bright blue there. Oh, I love that. So pretty. This is from Cloud Lover. Oh, you can't see her whole tag. And Cloud Lover is a lovely girl from Chicago, or the Chicago area. And this is called DK. That's the name of the color. Oh gosh, so pretty. So pretty. And what's the fiber? It's 85% superwash merino and 15% nylon, and it's 4 ounces. And so that was tucked away in my stash, and I cannot wait to spin this. Yeah. And then this one I got from, this is a Frabjous fiber. See, now I think that light is like glary, putting too much glare on there. But anyway, this is Frabjous fiber, and this is called Desert Rose, right? Yep. And it's Blue Faced Luster, and I love BFL. BFL is probably one of my favorite fibers to spin with and knit with. It's not as slippery as merino. When you're spinning merino, a lot of time it just feels kind of slick. It's, merino of course is super soft, but I like a little bit of the more rustic feel of BFL, while still it maintains some of the softness. And yeah, I've just always really enjoyed spinning with it and knitting with it. Yeah. So this was from Lisa. Lisa's farm used to carry other companies' dyed fiber, and now she has switched to just doing all of her own. So I think she had a clearance sale, and I bought some of that from her, because I do like Frabjous, and I like their colors. But yeah, and I like BFL, obviously. Alright, so today I got in the mail another little piece of roving that to supplement my lack of dyed fiber, and this is from Bumblebee Acres. I already mentioned them. They're doing the knit along, and I bought that beautiful Harry Potter yarn from them. And they dye fiber as well, and they were having a sale for Spinzilla. If you use a code, I think they still are. I think it might be SPIN15 is the code, but you should go on their website if you're in need of some fiber. So there's Bumblebee Acres Farm, and it's just bumblebeeacres.com is their website. And they're on Facebook, Instagram, you know, all the social medias. And this is, ready? This is the Jamie colorway, and it's inspired by Outlander, which is another show I have not watched. I feel like I am missing out. I watched the first episode, actually, because they were giving like a free preview on like HBO's website. I think it's an HBO show, right? And my former roommate and I, Amanda, we both thought it looked amazing and we wanted to watch it. We didn't get that channel. So we went online and we watched the first episode. And it's terrible because the show was so good that we wanted to keep on watching and we couldn't. And that was quite frustrating. Anyway, so I will get to watch that show someday. But this is Jamie. This is 2 ounces of a Cornwall cross wool. They don't say what the Cornwall was crossed with, but. And I just love these colors. It's very similar to my Cloud Lover roving with the oranges and blues and stuff, but it's a little deeper, and I really, really like that. I got this, I knew obviously exactly what it was when I opened the mailbox, and it was packaged really cute. It was in this like cellophane bag with a little cute bumblebee sticker, and I totally ripped that in half just in my haste to open the package. And I was just like, oh my gosh, when I saw this. I mean, it's so much better than it is online. You see the pictures and it's so much better in person. And it probably isn't, it's not coming out as beautiful. Oh yeah, there you go. Now you can see it's kind of highlighting some of those bright colors. Oh, so fun. And then they included a little sampler, a tasting of some Angora fiber. It's a little taste. And I know it's just so super soft. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a cloud. I don't want to take it all out of here because Angora has such short kind of staples to it, and it's not all, in a very convenient pack like this is. I don't want it to get all over the place. So I'm going to save it in its little bag until I have time to spin some Angora. And then I will put that on there, on my wheel. And I also got, a couple of days ago, I was lamenting the fact that I didn't have enough fiber. And so I went on Etsy, which is a very horrible thing to do when you're trying to save money and not buy things. But in this case, I was kind of looking to stock up. But still. So these are on, let's see, LCB. She's a dyer. And, oh my gosh. I'm actually just feeling this for the first time. I haven't even taken this out of the package yet. But this is the first one I got from her. And this is, oh, what is this one called? Oh, I don't know if it has that. Oh, there we go. Hidden Pine Trails. And there's some yellows and golds, kind of a bluey green, some mossy greens in there, a brown. So pretty. I don't know if that can, oh yeah, you can see it a little better there. So that is called Hidden Pine Trails, and it's merino wool, 4 ounces. And I absolutely love it. And this one, oh, I'm going to be a little crinkly here, I'm sorry. This I'm very excited about. And this was on sale in her shop. I was very excited because it's kind of a fall colorway. This is called Spiced Apple Cider, and it's got the reds. Let's see, closer to the light, further away from the light. There we go. That's pretty good. It's got the reds and pinks, but then the yellows, that natural color, some more brownish, orangey colors. Almost, and then a little bit of like this purpley brown in there too. There's some darker spots. I'll unroll that. Ooh. It's so pretty. So this is 85% superwash merino and 15% nylon. And like I said, this was on sale in her shop, and I absolutely loved it. So I thought it would be really fun to spin up some yarn for a pair of socks. And I've never knit hand-spun socks before, but there's been some podcasters, I think Danny especially of Little Bobbins, a few episodes ago, maybe quite a few episodes ago, she was talking about doing some hand-spun socks, and I never thought I'd be able to like spin as small as a standard sock yarn, but I don't think you have to, especially, you know, looking at the yarn that I just got on the art tour, that's not necessarily a sock weight, and they'll just be a little bit thicker, a little cushier. I might not wear them in my gym shoes or, you know, in a pair of tight-fitting boots or something, but I'll wear them around the house, or, yeah, I think it'll be fun and comfortable and warm, and that's all important too. So those were my recent fiber acquisitions that I'm very excited about. And I'm enjoying spinning the BFL, but I can't wait to get my second bobbin finished and get it plied up, because then I want to start using some of this stuff that I have now in my fiber stash. And I think this will be enough to get me through Spinzilla. I have a bat too, an art bat that I got from a shop up in Zimbrota, Minnesota. And if worse comes to worse and I totally run out, I will use that. And then if I run out again, I'll just use my boring undyed fiber and just spin up some yarn so I can dye it later. But I don't know. Hopefully I won't have to do that, because that's, once you're at the tail end of Spinzilla and you've been spinning for like 6 days straight, you really don't want to be spinning some really boring white merino wool. You want something fun to keep your interest, so that you can, you know, be excited about how it's going to turn out. That always keeps you going. So, well, I think that just about does it for me. I'm trying to make sure I didn't forget anything. I think that's all. I'm going to go back to my spinning now. I've been just enjoying watching some podcasts and getting my spinning done. Little Bobbins is my go-to right now, although I did have to watch the new episode of Chain 344. They restarted after a hiatus of like 4 months, and it was slightly chaotic, but in the best kind of way. Carolyn's baby was, Claudia, her baby girl, was in it for most of it, and she got a little fussy, but she's adorable, so you have to cut her some slack about that. So anyway, if you need a podcast to watch, go watch their new episode, or go back to the beginning and watch them all. Anyway, that's what I like to do. So, well, I hope to see you again next week, and I hope you guys all have a really, really good week. I will have hopefully lots of hand-spun yarn to show you, and I might not have many works in progress or new works in progress or finished objects, but there will be some new yarn, so come back for that. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.